Hello Stamping friends, welcome back to another card in the June online card class. This is the card that we're going to be putting together, and again you get all the directions and measurements and everything in the PDF when you're a club member or a class member. This is the stamp set that we're using, and while I have the stamp set in my hand, I wanted to point out something. First of all, by the time you finish with these 6 cards, there's only like 4 small stamps that you don't use. It's crazy. We're going to be using almost all the stamps on these cards. But there are 2 stamps, this one and this one, that kind of look really similar. I wanted to point out that this one has little flowers on it, and that's the one that we're using for this card, okay? So what do you get, or what do you need to use? What pieces do we need to use to make this card? And of course, you always get an envelope for your cards. You're going to get a Whisper White card base. You're going to get this beautiful ribbon, and I must stop and talk about this ribbon. It is available in all of the in colors, and you're just going to want all the colors. I mean, every one of them are just gorgeous. I just love how it feels, and I love how delicate it is. It ties really well, and it lays really flat on your cards. So when you're mailing those cards, you don't have to pay extra postage. Okay, so the other pieces that you're going to have is the large oval, and then the scallop, and a small piece of the tip-top taupe, a scrap of white, and then this piece is your layer. And what I love the most about this card, when I was putting it together, it's amazing to me that you can still take cardstock, stamps, punches, and come up with a totally different look just by punching out the piece of cardstock. Now, the piece is punched out when you get it, and then it is run through an embossing folder, and I use the hearts one because I love this card. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the little basket, and I'm using the tip-top taupe on the same color cardstock, and then you're just going to cut this out with some snips. Love that you don't have to be so perfect. I mean, it's pretty straight cuts. Okay. All right, so we got that done. Our sentiment is also going to be using the same color of ink, and the fact that it is a clear stamp, you can see where you're stamping. Okay, so I've got that. And then I'm going to stamp my bush, my flower bush, and I'm going to stamp as close to the edge of my Whisper White so that when I punch it, I don't have any waste. When you start making your cards, you're truly going to understand what I'm talking about when I tell you like to stamp close to the edge, just use strips, things like that. You'll really understand it. All right, so now I need to stamp my flowers. And okay, so let me get this back again. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp a flower so that you see what I'm saying. Let me give you the visual here. I'm going to stamp 2 of these. And then I'm going to clean my stamp, and I'm going to stamp 3 of these. All right, so let me show you. So my flower is right here, okay? If I leave my paper this big, so let's say I'm going to go ahead and line it up this way to punch out my flower. I'm going to be cutting all these other pieces. I'm going to be wasting all that paper. No reason to do that. So after you stamp your row of flowers, just cut a strip with your snips, and then you can put that in there. I'm going to start punching from this end, and I'm just going to keep on punching. And I love these little flowers too because you don't have to be so perfect when you're lining them up. Okay, so easy, hardly any waste at all. I'm going to turn this around. So I have that bit of waste. Let me just show you. Let me get all my flowers out. And then all I have is just these little bits of trash. Isn't that cool? All right. Let's clean up my area a bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting our card together. So we're going to use some snail on the back of the white oval. Put that on there. Okay. Now, a glue that I don't use very often, and I don't know why, because it is really perfect for getting into tiny areas, and it's the two-way glue pen. Okay, Stampin' Up! Sells it. So I'm going to just take and I'm going to put some glue on my flowers. Whoops. Whoa, that's way too much glue. Let me grab a tissue. So the concept behind the two-way glue pen is that you pump it like this to get it started. So you can see the blue glue, okay? And so when I pumped it, I got too much out, okay? So you might want to just test it on a piece of scrap before you do that. So there we go. So there's that one, and this one, and this one, and this one. All right, so let's just add our flowers. So cute. So cute. And this one. And this one. Can you see it? Okay, so now we've got our flowers on. Whoops. All right, let's put the top back on that. So again, a little glue goes a long ways. All right, so we have all of our pieces. Let's go ahead and put our card together. Now, something I wanted to point out to you, on your instructions, you can wrap the ribbon all the way around on the inside of the card. We've done that on some of the cards in the past. For the video, I wanted to show you an alternative so that you would have a different way to do the card if you wanted to. So I'm going to take the ribbon, and I've got my layer here. I'm just going to line this up a bit, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie it. I'm going to tie this one in a bow because I kind of cut too long of a piece. I'll be more careful when I'm sending it out to you, but let's see what it looks like with a bow so you can see the difference. Huh. Okay. Oh, so pretty. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, you're going to go nuts over this ribbon when you get it in your hands. All right. So now we're going to put our card together with some multi-purpose glue. Straighten that up a little bit. Okay. And you really want to make sure that you get around this circle because we don't want it to lift up. Okay. And along the edge. I'm glue shy. I don't want to squirt too much since I made a mess with the two-way glue pen. And we're just going to put some right there. Okay. So let's put this together. Oh my gosh, isn't it just gorgeous? Okay, so I want a little bit of an angle on that since I tied it into a bow. All right, but remember, yours is not going to be probably long enough to do a bow because I need to do enough ribbon for everybody in the class. So yours is just going to be tied like that in a knot, okay? So let me just point that out. But since I had it, you know, hey, it's our video. We can play with it a bit. All right. So now we're going to put our pieces together, our flower bush together, and I'm going to use some dimensionals. And we'll put our basket down first. Okay, about right there. And I have a little bit of glue on my fingers. There we go. So stinking cute. I mean, it's just such a fun thing to just cut that out and put that basket right in there. So, all right, let's put some dimensionals on this. And we are almost done. Let's pull this up here. And I really am lucky to call you my stamping friends. I hope you enjoyed this card, and you're gonna love that ribbon when you get it. All right, come back for the next video.